July 1978, Miami, Florida, 5th Street Gym. This isn't working. Muhammad Ali's voice cut through the humid Miami air of 5th Street Gym. He stood in the ring, 36 years old, sweating under the harsh lights, staring at his sparring partner with that mixture of frustration and disappointment that everyone in the gym had come to recognize over the past 3 weeks. The man across from him, Bobby Jenkins, 34, lean, quiet, lowered his gloves and waited. "Bobby," Ali said, turning to his trainer Angelo Dundee, but speaking loud enough for the whole gym to hear. "He's a good man. Respectful. On time. But he's not giving me what I need." Ali gestured toward Bobby with his gloved hand. "Too careful. Too defensive. Like he's afraid of getting hit." Angelo Dundee shifted uncomfortably, clipboard in hand. The gym had gone quiet. 8 other boxers stopped training to watch. Young sparring partners leaned on the ropes, some smirking. The old-timers just shook their heads. Bobby Jenkins stood there, gloves at his sides, face neutral. He'd heard this before. "Look, brother," Ali said, walking closer to Bobby. "I've been doing this a long time. I know what I need. And what you're doing." He paused, searching for the right words. "You box like you're in a war, man. This ain't life or death. You gotta loosen up. Take risks. Fight back." Bobby didn't respond, just nodded once. "You move like you're scared," Ali said finally, and the word hung in the air like an accusation. "In boxing, you gotta have courage. You gotta want to hit back." Bobby looked at Ali, really looked at him, and for just a second, something flickered in his eyes. Something old, something hard. Then it was gone. "I understand, Mr. Ali," Bobby said quietly. "I'll pack my gear." "Wait," Ali said, and there was something in his tone, not quite regret, but close. "Where are you going?" "Next job, sir. I need work. My wife is sick. There are bills." "What kind of bills?" Bobby hesitated. "Medical bills. From Agent Orange. From Vietnam." The gym went completely silent. Ali froze. "Vietnam." Bobby nodded. "Yes, sir. 1970 to 1972. 1st Marines." Ali stared at Bobby, really seeing him for the first time. 34 years old. Short hair going gray. Sun-damaged skin. Careful movements. Defensive stance. A man who'd learned in the jungle to never make a wrong move. "You were in Vietnam?" Ali said slowly. "Yes, sir." "You fought?" "Yes, sir." The irony hit Ali like a left hook. For years, he'd been criticized for refusing to go to Vietnam. "Real men go to war," they'd said. "You're a coward," they'd said. And now, standing in front of him, was a man who'd gone to the war Ali refused to fight, and Ali had just called him scared. "Bobby," Ali said, his voice different now, softer, genuine. "Sit down. Tell me what happened over there." Bobby Jenkins didn't want to tell the story. He hadn't told it to anyone in 7 years. But something in Ali's eyes, maybe sincerity, maybe just curiosity, made him talk. They sat in the corner of the ring, gloves off, towels around their necks. The other boxers drifted back to their training, giving them space. Angelo brought water. March 15th, 1971. Bobby began, his voice quiet but steady. "Near Khe Sanh. My company, Bravo Company, 1st Marine Division, we were on patrol. 42 men. Standard jungle sweep." He paused, took a drink of water. "We got ambushed. Classic Viet Cong tactics. Sniper up front, booby traps on both sides of the trail, more enemy behind us. No way out." Ali listened, leaning forward. "Our radio operator, kid named Miller, 19 years old. He got hit first. Sniper shot, right through the head. Dead before he hit the ground. Lieutenant took shrapnel in the leg. My best friend, Danny Rodriguez." Bobby's voice caught. "Danny got shot through the chest. Couldn't breathe. Bleeding bad." "And you?" Ali asked quietly. "I was 8 months into my tour. Corporal. Infantry. Nothing special. But I knew somebody had to get that radio. Call in air support. Or we were all dead." Bobby looked at his hands, weathered, scarred, trembling slightly now with the memory. The radio was with Miller. Out in the open. Sniper's line of fire. Everyone who tried to move got shot at. We were pinned down. Trapped. "So what did you do?" "I stood up." The simple statement hung in the air. "You stood up," Ali repeated. "Yes, sir." "I ran to Miller's body. Grabbed the radio. Started calling in coordinates for air support. And the sniper," Bobby touched his left shoulder through his shirt. "He hit me. Clean through. Felt like getting hit with a sledgehammer. But I had the radio. I stayed on the line. Gave them the coordinates. Air support came. Apache gunships. They took out the enemy positions. How many men survived? 38 out of 42. For Khe. Danny. Bobby's voice broke again. Danny died the next day. Medevac couldn't get to him in time. Ollie said nothing. There was nothing to say. They gave me the Silver Star, Bobby said. For gallantry in action. But it doesn't feel like gallantry. It feels like I couldn't save Danny. It feels like I'm still there, in that jungle, trying to make the right decision while people are dying. He looked at Ollie. So when you say I move carefully, Mr. Ollie, you're right. I learned to move carefully. Because in Vietnam, one wrong move meant you were dead. One mistake meant your brothers died. And I can't. He stopped, collected himself. I can't just turn that off. Even here. Even in a boxing ring where it's just sport. Ollie reached out, put his hand on Bobby's shoulder, the scarred one, and squeezed gently. I'm sorry, Ollie said. I didn't know. I didn't understand. Nobody knows, Bobby said. I don't talk about it. What's the point? It's over. I'm here. I'm alive. Danny isn't. That's all there is. No, Ollie said firmly. That's not all there is. You're a hero, Bobby. You saved 38 men. You took a bullet and stayed on the radio. That's courage. Real courage. Bobby shook his head. You don't understand, Mr. Ollie. In Vietnam, we didn't have a choice. You did. You stood up and said, I won't fight in a war I don't believe in. You lost everything. Your title, your money, your freedom almost. But you stood by your principles. That's courage too. It's different, Ollie said. Is it? Bobby asked. You faced the government, the media, the whole country calling you a coward. And you didn't bend. That takes guts. Different kind than what I did, but guts all the same. They sat in silence for a moment, two men from different worlds, different wars, different definitions of courage. Bobby, Ollie said finally, I want you to stay. Not as my sparring partner. As my friend. And I want to tell people about you. About what you did. Mr. Ollie, I don't need. I know you don't need it. Ollie interrupted. But other people need to hear it. People who think the only courage that matters is in a boxing ring. People who think veterans like you are just, he gestured vaguely, forgotten. I want them to know. Bobby was quiet for a long moment. Then, okay. 2 days later, press conference. Ollie held a press conference at 5th Street Gym. Reporters came expecting to hear about the upcoming Leon Spinks fight, the historic attempt to become the first 3-time heavyweight champion. Instead, Ollie brought Bobby Jenkins onto the small stage with him. Gentlemen, Ollie said to the assembled press, before we talk about Leon Spinks, I want to introduce you to someone. This is Bobby Jenkins, my friend, and a hero. The reporters looked confused, notebooks poised. Bobby was in Vietnam, Ollie continued. 1st Marine Division, Bravo Company. On March 15, 1971, his company was ambushed near Khe Sanh. 42 men trapped. Radio operator killed. Bobby stood up under sniper fire, retrieved the radio, called in air support, and got shot doing it. He saved 38 men. They gave him the Silver Star for gallantry in action. The room was silent. Pens scribbled furiously. And I almost fired him from my gym. Ollie said, his voice softer now. I criticized him for being too careful. I told him he moved like he was scared. I didn't know. I didn't ask. I just assumed. He looked at Bobby. I refused to go to Vietnam because of my beliefs. And I stand by that decision. I'd make it again. But men like Bobby, men who went, who fought, who came home carrying wounds we can't see, they deserve our respect. They deserve our gratitude. And they deserve better than being called scared by someone who doesn't understand what they've been through. A reporter raised his hand. Mr. Ollie, are you saying you regret your stance on Vietnam? No, Ollie said firmly. I'm saying there are different kinds of courage. I had my kind. Bobby had his. Both are valid. Both matter. And it's time we stop treating them like they're in competition. Another reporter. Mr. Jenkins, what do you think about Mr. Ali's draft refusal? Bobby, uncomfortable with the attention, spoke quietly into the microphone. I think Mr. Ali did what he believed was right. That takes courage. I did what I believed was my duty. That took courage too. We can respect both. The room erupted in applause. September 15, 1978, New Orleans Superdome. The Louisiana Superdome was packed. 63,352 people watching Muhammad Ali fight Leon Spinks for the heavyweight championship. If Ali won, He'd become the first three-time heavyweight champion in history. And in Ali's corner, holding towels, giving water, whispering encouragement between rounds, Bobby Jenkins. "Keep moving, champ," Bobby said quietly as Ali sat on his stool after round 8. "Don't let him corner you. Circle left." Ali nodded, breathing hard. "You sound like you're calling in an airstrike, brother." Bobby smiled, the first real smile he'd had in years. "Same principle. Know where your support is. Use it wisely." Round 15. Ali ahead on points, but exhausted. Spinks coming forward, desperate, throwing everything. Ali dug deep, found that last reserve, and survived. The bell rang. Decision. Unanimous. Ali by decision. Muhammad Ali, at 36 years old, became the first three-time heavyweight champion in boxing history. And when the press crowded into the ring, when the cameras flashed, when everyone wanted to know how Ali did it, Ali grabbed Bobby and pulled him into frame. "This man right here," Ali said, arm around Bobby's shoulders. "He's the real champion. He taught me what courage really means. I just box. He saved lives." The photo ran on the front page of every major newspaper the next day. Muhammad Ali, the newly crowned three-time champion, and Bobby Jenkins, the Vietnam War hero, standing together in the ring. 1982, 4 years later. Ali retired from boxing in 1981. The Parkinson's symptoms had started, tremors in his hands, slowed speech. The price of too many fights, too many hits. But his friendship with Bobby never wavered. Bobby moved to Miami permanently. Ali gave him a full-time position at Fifth Street Gym, not sparring, but training younger fighters, mentoring, being present. And the medical bills for Bobby's wife Linda, the Agent Orange treatments, the medications, the specialists, Ali's foundation covered all of it. "You saved 38 men in Vietnam," Ali told Bobby once. "Let me help save one family here." They became a fixture in Miami's boxing community, the legend and the veteran. Young fighters would come to train, and they'd see Ali and Bobby sitting together, talking, laughing. The story spread. The respect deepened. July 1996, Atlanta Olympics. When the Olympic torch was passed to Muhammad Ali at the 1996 Atlanta Olympics, the world watched as the trembling legend, Parkinson's now advanced, lit the Olympic cauldron. It was one of the most powerful moments in sports history. In the crowd, watching, crying, Bobby Jenkins. After the ceremony, Ali found Bobby in the crowd. They embraced. No words necessary. Two warriors, two definitions of courage, united by respect. June 3, 2016, Louisville, Kentucky. Muhammad Ali died at 74 years old in a hospital in Scottsdale, Arizona. The world mourned. Presidents, champions, celebrities, everyone paid tribute to the greatest. The funeral was held in Louisville, Kentucky, Ali's hometown. 20,000 people attended. And among the pallbearers carrying Ali's casket, Bobby Jenkins. As Bobby helped lift the casket, his scarred shoulder bearing weight one more time, he whispered quietly, "Thank you for seeing me, champ. Thank you for teaching me that courage comes in many forms. It was an honor to know you." The casket was heavy. But Bobby Jenkins, who'd carried wounded Marines through Vietnamese jungles, who'd carried the weight of survivors' guilt for 45 years, who'd carried his principles quietly through a world that had forgotten him, carried Muhammad Ali one final time. And as they lowered the casket into the ground, Bobby thought of Danny Rodriguez, dead in Vietnam at 23. He thought of the 38 men who came home because he stood up. He thought of Ali, who stood up in a different way. And he understood, finally, that courage wasn't about fighting. It was about standing up when it mattered, in whatever way you could, and living with the consequences. Bobby Jenkins died in 2019 at age 75, in Miami, surrounded by family. His obituary mentioned his Silver Star, his service in Vietnam, and his friendship with Muhammad Ali. But what wasn't in the obituary, what only a few people knew, was that Bobby had kept one thing from Ali all those years. In Bobby's apartment, in a small wooden box, were two items, his Silver Star medal and a photograph of Danny Rodriguez, taken the day before he died in Vietnam. On the back of the photo, in faded ink, Danny had written, "Bobby, if I don't make it, tell them I wasn't scared. Tell them we did what we had to do." Bobby never forgot. And thanks to Muhammad Ali, the world never forgot Bobby. Bobby Jenkins's and Muhammad Ali's story reminds us, courage comes in many forms. Sometimes it's refusing to fight in a war you don't believe in. Sometimes it's fighting in a war because you believe it's your duty. Sometimes it's standing up under sniper fire. Sometimes it's standing up to your government. But always, it's about seeing each other's courage, respecting it, and understanding that we're all warriors in different ways. If this story moved you, like, share, and subscribe to empowering stories to honor our veterans. Have you ever misjudged someone's caution as fear, only to learn they had good reason? Share your experience in the comments below. Remember, the most careful person might be the bravest. Just ask the story. Honor our veterans. All of them.